Hello everyone and welcome to the first proper episode of The Green Pill. I've spent the past week or so trying to think about how I want to introduce this and how I want to set the tone for this channel. And I think initially I just want to start off with what started my journey off, and I'm assuming what started most people's journey off when we talk about plant medicine. And so I think to understand that, I want to talk a little bit about why plant medicine has become so popular. And I've been trying to think about this and try and put this into like a capsule that I can maybe talk about. So here goes. So in my opinion, Western medicine has created a scenario whereby patients have little or no autonomy over their body and over their symptom management, over their treatment. This dynamic between doctor and patient quite often, and I have felt this personally, quite often puts the patient immediately into a position in a sort of passive position, and the doctor in a power position. So you go, you sit, you listen, they provide you with a pill-shaped solution. Somebody else has gone and sourced this medicine, you don't know what it's made of, you're given no real explanation as to what's in these drugs, who's made them, where they've come from, how they work, what is happening in your body when you take them, why it is that you feel the way you feel, when you observe side effects. And I think the general issue with that is that we, as patients, it's assumed that we don't want to be part of the solution. And I think that's really key, because actually patients need to be part of the solution in order to get well. I think this delegating to someone who's more educated, who knows better, who understands the body better, and this acceptance of, okay, you know better than me, you know better what's better for my body than I do. I think that can be quite destructive, actually, particularly when people are dealing with chronic illness and you're going to have to be in that state for a long period of time. So what happens when we're put into that dynamic over a long period of time? What happens is we relinquish our power over the one thing that we should have autonomy over, which is ourselves and our body. The difference that I see in patients when they switch to plant medicine, or maybe they've always gone that route, the difference between the two is that plant medicine is intuitive and it's experiential in its physicality. It's truly there, and it's there for us to connect with. If you compare these two things, and we'll just take cannabis as an example, this is a plant and this is a pill, and I can understand quite easily how this has been grown, what's in it. I can smell it, I can touch it, I can feel it, I can have an experience with it. This is something that somebody else has taken responsibility for. Somebody else has created this in some kind of a lab somewhere I've got no connection to whatsoever, and it distances us from the solution, right? The other thing is that each of our endocannabinoid systems are completely different, and plant medicine, particularly with cannabis, requires some experimentation. And it puts you back in control of things like dosage and strain. So this gives me complete autonomy, and even more so if I am able to grow my own, because then that is total autonomy, right? That is, I am treating myself with a plant. I am being given the whole solution, and I am in control of my wellness at the end of the day. So in order to figure out what is best for us when we work with plant medicine is, you need to be willing to put the experimentation in, and that does another thing, which I think is also quite empowering. That connects us to our listening to our bodies. By experimenting with these different types of plants and herbs and being in control and feeling more in control, I'm in control of my own experiments, of my own body, and therefore to see what's working, I'm listening. I'm always listening, and that just puts you straight back into your body, out of your mind and into your body, and that is where you can connect and listen to the things that are working for you. So the same reasons I think why flower medicine, why plant medicine is empowering for patients is, some of those same reasons are there when we look at the obstacles towards integrating this into our healthcare system. This doesn't look like, in terms of language, in terms of medical language, our modern day, the language that we speak in terms of medicine, this does not look like medicine to our doctors. This looks like medicine. And, the other thing is that this not being a 3 times a day, take this pill 3 times a day before food approach. This is, I relinquish the control back to the patient. You can dose when necessary, experiment. And that requires relinquishing some of that power and some of that control back to patients. And if you think about the way that our whole healthcare system is set up, is that doesn't really fit in. It doesn't really jar with how it is that they've been trained and how it is that they've been practicing. So really, to accept this medicine and to accept this whole new, let's face it, cannabis isn't just cannabis. It's not about cannabis helps, it's about what cannabis helps, or what plants help, what types of plants help. So really what I'm saying is, in order to make a real move towards plant medicine, we need to re-educate these medical professionals. And I'm saying re-educate is because we really were, this is part of our history. Plant medicine's part of our history. This is where we got all medicines from in the first place. We looked at these plants and we thought, okay, they're great, they work for some things. And then we went on and we made synthetic versions of those, which in themselves have caused significant problems, side effects, and things like that. And if we look at the wider situation in terms of the context of society at the moment, we are looking outside of these sort of really chemical environments for more natural solutions. If you think about what's happening on the planet now in terms of, looking at recycling, our use of plastics, the state of the ocean, pollution, chemicals in our food, we've decided to turn our back on some of the more industrial methods of creating our products, our produce, our life, and we are trying now to return to a more natural route, and that is because that is what our bodies need. So in my opinion, that shouldn't just constitute what is sprayed on our carrots. That shouldn't just mean that we walk around with with those water bottles that aren't plastic that we can refill. That should really be entering into the sphere of what medicines we're using and what treatments we're using in terms of curing illness. And just to touch a little bit about sort of bringing this to a close now, to touch a little bit on my journey and why I decided to cover this topic first, is I think this whole cycle is all to do with responsibility and taking responsibility for your own health. And I truly believe that before we get into what oils help, what cannabis can help with, what other supplements there are out there, what herbs from other countries could be available to us, I think the first step before we even go there, before we even look at that, is to start taking some responsibility back and start taking our power back that we've given away, and our autonomy back from those that we've given it away to. And the way that I did that, and my sort of mythology around that, was to stop being the victim that this system perpetuates. So stop putting yourself in that position of somebody else knows more than me, somebody else knows better for me. I think that is the key. And the next step is to step into your power and own that you can take responsibility of your own wellness, of your own well-being. You call the shots, and that you shouldn't really allow anybody in any position of power to dictate what the best thing for you is. And I've rabbited on a little bit, so I'm going to stop now. But there's my little ditty for today. We're going to be touching on lots of things that I've spoken about. We're going to be touching on lots of patient stories, and we're going to be talking to people in natural medicine, and that'll be coming up really shortly. And I will get on those demonstrations because I know a lot of you have been asking. Okay, that's it from me. Mwah. Peace out.